this is the standalone one, and it may spawn sequels. And if the first Crow movie and the comic book shared ideas, but they weren't. The movie wasn't the comic.
Mm-hmm.
If this one is closer, it'll be darker for one. There definitely won't be as much martial arts either.
Okay.
But that's what Brandon Lee did. He brought that to it himself. I don't know what this guy's going to bring to the table for it, but we'll soon find out. And this will be the first Crow movie since Brandon Lee's that I'm actually looking forward to seeing, to see what it is.
Because of O'Barr's involvement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think they're treating it more sensibly rather than just trying to, spawn sequels and make money that just don't make sense.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Right, Quentin Tarantino is set to direct a new movie by the name of The Hateful Eight, which he's hoping to direct this summer, probably. The film is likely to be a take on the 1960 Magnificent Seven, which was, of course, a remake of Akira Kurosawa's 1954 Seven Samurai. No one's cast yet, but Tarantino has reached out to veteran director Victoria Thomas, who worked on Django Unchained, to work with him on casting the movie. Have said several insiders. A part has been written for Christoph Waltz, who starred in Tarantino's Django and Inglourious Bastards. So, are we excited about this?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Tarantino. If he gets it right, it'll be funny, as well as Tarantino.
Okay, I've started watching Django Unchained because I haven't avoided it. Just as you say earlier on, sometimes the movie gets you by and you just never get back to it. Sat down and watched about an hour of it the other night. Very, very good.
And then you had to go to sleep.
And then I had to go to sleep. But the whole scene with the clan and stuff, so funny.
It's funny but dark and drama at the same time.
Very dark, yeah. But it's funny.
And he does do that very well.
Yeah.
And I just like the fact that, it's not going to be the Magnificent Seven. I'll have one more.
25-year-old actor Jesse Plemons, who starred in AMC's Breaking Bad and NBC's Friday Night Lights, is in consideration for a lead in Star Wars Episode 7. Plemons is scheduled to meet with director J.J. Abrams next week to discuss the highly anticipated sequel, which is expected to bring back blah, 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 blah. Nobody really knows who he's going to be or what he's going to be in it, but the rumour is that he may be Mark Hamill's son. I can kind of see the similarities
There's
there.
still nothing concrete about what these movies will be, anything at all.
No.
I mean, sometimes I'm hearing that it will be a reprise of the original characters, other times it's their descendants, other times it's nothing to do with them. Mm-hmm. It's just, at this stage, you would think that Disney would want to put out something to... Well, I was going to say to get people interested. Everyone's interested anyway.
It's getting to that point now where it's getting fever pitch. It's very like the Marvel movies where we just constantly hear, the latest names. Yeah, Michael Fassbender, Adam Driver, and Hugo Weaving are probably the three biggest characters or actors right now that are being attached. Benedict Cumberbatch, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Michael B. Jordan, Jack O'Connell, Alex Pettyfer, Saoirse Ronan, and Sullivan Stapleton have all been attached, although Saoirse Ronan has said that she's not actually got anything to do with it. Right, Breaking Bad's Jesse Plemons, blah, blah, blah. The project has changed significantly since Oscar winner Michael Arndt left Episode 7 last fall, with duties taken up by J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan, who co-wrote Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, and Raiders of the Lost Ark. According to multiple insiders, the reason for the parting ways was not due to time frame, as many have stated, but rather due to a difference in opinion of what the characters should focus on. According to the Hollywood Reporter, Arndt is said to be focusing on the offspring of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia, which is, of course, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher, with the original trilogy characters taking on supporting roles. Abrams, however, wants Episode 7 to focus on the classic trio of characters, so audience could have one more chance to enjoy them before a fitting send-off. The new characters, the offspring, the kids, will now be in supporting roles according to these sources and will take centre stage by Episode 8 and 9. Some characters have disappeared from the Arndt script, new ones are being drafted. So Abrams and Kasdan are overhauling the script. It seems that many of the actors who had met and auditioned have been crossed off for various reasons. So basically it was that the original scripter, Arndt, had wanted it to be more about the kids, Star Wars, The Next Generation, whereas J.J. Abrams says, no, you know what, take back the original actors, give them a big part in the first movie, and
pass the torch.
It
kind of makes sense, but because of the time and the actors some of them haven't aged gracefully. It's going to be a massive culture shock.
Yeah,
but maybe it depends on how big the part is. Hopefully it's balanced. You get the old characters and the new characters at the same time, because I don't think would anybody really want to see a movie with Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher the age they are now. They can't reprise their role.
No.
It would have to be, it's almost flashbacks and story of what came before.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a dreary movie.
Yeah, I mean, the only person I think that really could do it right now would be Mark Hamill, because you can have the older Jedi, you can have that character.
He'd be the Obi-Wan type.
Yeah.
But you can't have, the other two could be settled down and raising the family, but then that's where you want to see the family go off and do something.
We see Princess Leia could be a senator now. They could do that. She's more of a political figure, that she's the Mon Mothma of the series and everything else. These are all names. You don't know what these are.
And Harrison Ford's a stay-at-home husband.
It's the stay-at-home
raising
husband.
The kids.
Yeah. Combing Chewie's hair and stuff. Dave Filoni talks about Darth Maul and the Clone Wars. Last week we talked about how the Clone Wars TV series ends. It just ends in the middle of stories.
Yeah.
Because once Disney took over, they cleaned the slate.
That was so bad of them. That was the one thing they've done wrong.
It kind of was. Yeah, it kind of was. But then the Dark Horse Comics, who are now losing the contract, the Star Wars contract, which is going back to Marvel because it's owned by Disney and blah, blah, blah. They are getting to wrap up the Darth Maul story, which was really the big cliffhanger, the story that just was left wide open. But Dave Filoni wanted to clear up a few things. He came on to Dave Filoni posted on the following information on his own Facebook page, clearing up some confusion about the nature of the Darth Maul stories being published by Dark Horse. You have seen in the recent Clone Wars Dark Horse comic news, and I thought I would chime in and clarify things a bit. I'm very excited about collaboration with Dark Horse and the opportunity to tell the unfinished story which was developed for the TV series. But before we get into the details about the Maul comic, I'd like to make it clear that the storyline does not represent the Clone Wars series finale. I've seen some confusion about this online, and I want to set the record straight. There's additional Clone Wars episodes on the way, and one arc in particular marks what I, in my mind, have set out as the series finale. We'll have fun discussing that in the not too distant future. Allow me to feel right, blah blah blah, son of the right. So basically, what he's saying is that it'll wrap up the story, but this is not what he had seen the end of the Clone Wars.
It's just the end of this story.
This story will end, but not the whole story, the whole series. Okay. Quickly, big event news. Richard Dreyfuss and Terry Gilliam are both coming to the Jameson Dublin International Film Festival this year.
That's pretty big.
That's pretty cool. So that's running this February.
An event in Dublin has announced some guests. I wonder when Dublin Comic Con's going to do that.
I know, that'd be great, wouldn't it? But here last year, they had
Belfast
Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon was here last year. Was in Dublin.
Yeah.
For the film festival last year.
That's big.
That's pretty big.
But you would think that when Expo kind of launching Dublin and Belfast, like in how many months? It's not that far, and there's not a single guest announced.
Yeah. Right. One final story. We're going to do this. The Saxon's not here, but he had written a really good piece on the site about Peter Capaldi, about the new Doctor.
Yep.
Have you read this?
I have.
So it's very, very good. So basically what he's written is Stephen Moffat has explained why he felt it was time to shake up Doctor Who by bringing in a more dangerous and difficult Doctor in the form of Peter Capaldi. Moffat said in the new issue of the Doctor Who magazine, there would be a point in making as radical a change as we've made unless you're going to do... Sorry, there'd be little point in making a radical change unless you're going to do something quite different with the Doctor. The last two Doctors have been brilliant and they've been your old good boyfriend Doctors, but the Doctor isn't always like that. There's some sort of Tom Baker, Christopher Eccleston end of this spectrum where he's mad and dangerous and difficult. He goes on to say, if we cast Ben Whishaw, you'd know that what we were doing. You'd think, well, it's just another quirky young man with entertaining her. And he'd be brilliant. And Clara would just think, okay, you've rearranged yourself a bit. I think it was time for the new show to flip it around a bit. The new version of the show is quite old now. It's very old. We need to kick it up the arse in a way to frighten you and to make you think, oh, it's a different show again. It's very easy to think that all this means that the 12th Doctor will be much angrier, shoutier and swearier based on Peter Capaldi's infamous character Malcolm Tucker. But Capaldi's acting skills extends far beyond raising his voice to a few Daleks before insulting their mothers. If anything, I predicted this incarnation will be much more argumentative. He will question so much more. He's an older version. Gone is the whimsy, flippant charm of Matt Smith to be replaced by an assertive, more assured Time Lord. He has the universe in the palm of his hand, or at least he thinks he does, which makes him so much more of a difficult Doctor. This, of course, is Saxon's opinion. He knows Gallifrey is out there somewhere waiting to be discovered. It's no longer burned in the final days of the Time War, so the weight of his actions no longer bear on him, which allows him to be much more free. Remember how much fuss was made in the Day of the Doctor over how destroying Gallifrey had prompted the Doctor into doing all he could to save everyone. The number of chances the 9th, 10th and 11th incarnation all gave to their enemies. Heck, even the 10th Doctor was willing to give his own life to give the Sontarans, a race of aliens hell-bent on war and conflict no matter what, a chance to back down. But Gallifrey is safe. So what does this all mean? Will Capaldi's Doctor no longer be so merciful, and perhaps the pressure and frustration of knowing his home planet is out there somewhere, yet he is unable to locate it, will add to a darker personality? This is very interesting. Our own Phil, anybody listening to this show for a while will know who Phil is, and anyone who reads the site knows who Phil is as well. The reason Phil doesn't like New Who is because he doesn't like how playful the Doctor has become, how childish.
And the War Doctor didn't either.
Yeah. This Moffat's way. I don't think Moffat's consciously going, we have to fix this for the fans. But I think he is going to go back to what the Doctor was.
I think he's fixing it for himself because, even if people don't like Moffat, he's a Doctor Who fan first. Mm-hmm. He always was. That's why I think he's quite a good writer sometimes and a good showrunner. But yeah, I think he's right. If you have too much boy band Doctor, which is kind of what he became, you lose. That's what he becomes. Whereas none of the other... There was always an element if you knew it was the Doctor, but they were all individuals. Mm-hmm. Whereas Smith and Tennant and even to some extent Eccleston were all kind of samey.
Yes.
which was maybe too. I don't know. They were all good, but you couldn't see the difference all the time.
Yep.
Sometimes you could. This one, I think you're going to see the difference. I think he is going to be much more like Tom Baker, or maybe Sylvester. Not Sylvester McCoy.
You see, this is right
Third
back to the
Doctor,
start.
possibly.
This is the new William Hartnell. In theory,
Yeah, because in a way, because it could be the first. It's not a regeneration; it's a reincarnation. They've given him a new start.
the Doctor is dead. Long live the Doctor.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think it's going to be Hartnell. Like, he's not going to have anything in common with Hartnell because Hartnell wasn't a typical Doctor.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have much more in common with maybe an amalgamation of Pertwee and Troughton.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think he will be more serious. I don't think he's going to be ranty shouty like the guy from what did Capaldi play?
How do you think of it?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be anything like that. I think he's just going to be more serious and more focused and less timey-wimey, spacey-wacy nonsense that the War Doctor pointed out. I think I think that's the other reason for choosing an older Doctor. They're letting the Doctor grow up again and be a little bit more serious. I don't think he's always going to be serious. None of the other Doctors were always serious. They were whimsical and capricious. So you might see that more than silly.
Yeah.
That would be very good, actually.
We see, because it makes sense that with the developments of the 50th anniversary episode and everything else, that it now has reset the Doctor. Because the Doctor we have seen in the New Who is a different man because of the actions of what he did in Gallifrey and everything else. But now he's found out that that didn't happen. He kind of has been given the chance to go back to who he really is.
Yeah. As long as they give him his memory back and that the end of this last episode was just a glitch or
It was just confused me. Was it not set up that he doesn't know this?
I don't know. Was it set up that he wouldn't remember anything?
Yeah, because you remember whenever the War Doctor was leaving, he was saying, I'm not going to remember any of this. Sure, I'm not in there.
Oh, no, I'm talking about Capaldi.
Oh, right.
Sorry. He regenerates and suddenly, do you know how to fly the TARDIS?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we've had a couple of explosive regenerations where, like when Tennant went into a coma, basically, and had to recover for a while. But this one just seemed to be a quick, easy, well, it was a reset rather than a regen, and then I can't remember anything. So could it be because he's been reset? He really won't remember anything, which will make the first series of Doctor Who very weird, because he literally won't be the Doctor.
Yeah.
Or is it just, his brain will kind of reset in a few moments?
I'll take a wee while.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It would be, that blanks would be good, because really Doctor Who became too all-powerful. He knows everything about everyone. This one, maybe little gaps would be good, and the companion has to kind of lead him a little bit, or he has to discover new things, but not complete memory loss. Yeah. But I think Capaldi's going to be a good one.
Yeah. Are you excited about it?
Of course, it's Doctor Who.
Okay. What did you think of the Christmas episode?
I loved it.
Okay.
I've heard some of the complaints about it. Like, I've heard that people are going, it's so twee, it's called Christmas. But in the one with the flying shark, what was that Christmas special? Where the girl was always, she was dying and she was put in a freezer.
Christmas Carol, wasn't it?
It could have been.
Yeah.
He mentioned going to a place called Christmas. And I thought that was a really nice foreshadowing. Maybe it was just luck, but it was nice. I like. It was definitely Matt Smith's Doctor, the sort of Doctor that would, rather than fight or run, well, he couldn't run, he would sit and wait.
Yeah.
That stalemate was brilliantly played. I did like it. And I thought his ending was nice as well. So it was a good story. Some of the wrapping up, well, there was always the church and there was always the silence working for the church, and you don't need to know how. How'd they get into the TARDIS? Who cares? They're the ones who blew it up. Well, we kind of knew that. We just wanted to know how.
Yeah.
The introduction of the female, can't remember her name, the head of the church, she was good. And I like the fact that there is backstory there that they may explore at some other point. So no, it was a really good episode. It was a very good sending off as well. Probably one of the best kind of sending offs for a Doctor recently.
Okay, I liked it. I thought the pacing was all over the place. I thought the pacing was
terrible. Was a bit.
And that was my big concern.
Sometimes they tried to cram too much in. Other times it lingered a bit. But overall, it was a really good episode.
Okay, fair enough. So yes, you're excited for New Doctor Who?
I am, even if we have to wait 7 years to get it. Well, this year. This autumn?
Quickly, no, it's August. This August.
August, yeah.
Quickly, Sherlock.
Oh, it was so good.
What did you make of that ending?
If this was a series that came back more frequently, and this was just a mid-season break, or it would be back in 3 or 4 months, they should have let him fly off. And, then the gap was there.
Yeah.
I think the turnaround was very fast, but that was funny as well. I saw it on BBC One HD, and it didn't come after the credits. It came before the credits, the kind of joke. And then right at the very end of the credits, the real face came on and said, "Did you miss me?" That would have been good as well if the credits had rolled and then they called him back. But then maybe people wouldn't have watched it; they wouldn't have known it was there.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, the ending was good, and I like the fact that they're going to try and explain how Moriarty came back now.
Yeah. Well, the spoiler is, of course, that Moriarty